Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology Section A. In our previous session, we have completed with the textual exercise for chapter number 2, Periodic Classification of Elements. Today, we will be discussing the additional questions for the chapter and some of the activities. So, let us move towards the additional questions. The first additional question for this chapter is on page number 16. As I will be discussing the activities also, I request all of you to keep a textbook in your hand because page wise we will be discussing the activities. State Dobereiner's triads giving one example. Now this 2-3 additional questions we had discussed in the previous session, but some points were left out. Before we proceed ahead, some kind of information we are getting regarding the reduction in syllabus. Once we get full authenticity about it, that yes, really the board has sent the circular, immediately we will inform you through the video or the live session. So till that, whatever syllabus is given in the textbook, we will proceed ahead. So regarding the Dobereiner's triads, here it is state the triads giving one example. So in the first part you have to state his law. So if you want to mark, you have to mark on page number 1616, second line. Dobereiner made, in the textbook it is he made. Dobereiner made groups of 3 elements each having similar chemical properties and called them triads. He arranged the 3 elements in a triad in an increasing order of atomic mass and showed that the atomic mass of the middle element was approximately equal to the mean of the atomic masses of the other 2 elements. Now here the point which I forgot to tell you last time is, you can see here in this example 3 triads are given. The first one is sodium, lithium, sodium, potassium. Second one is calcium, strontium, barium. Third one is chlorine, bromine, iodine. Then the actual atomic mass of the first element, that is lithium, actual atomic mass of the middle element here, and you can see the third element C, atomic mass is given over here. Our main criteria is to find out the mean of the first and the third element's atomic mass, add and divide by 2. Now you have to prepare all the 3, because if they ask you giving one example, then any one example you have to write. But in March 2020, the first triad was asked in the exam with x, y over here for these values and a, b, c for the names of the elements. You had to find out what it is, means you have to find out the atomic masses, then you have to name the triad, and then you have to state the law. So such a type of logically based question was asked, and that is why you have to prepare with all the 3 examples. Do not skip any of the examples. Let us move towards the next additional question. State Newland's law of octaves. The answer is on page number 17. In your first point, you should mention Newland's arranged the elements in an increasing order of their atomic masses. You can see on page number 17, very first paragraph, 4th line. Second point, he found that every 8th element had properties similar to those of the first. So this point is very important because his principle is also based on arranging the elements in an increasing order of their atomic masses. Whether it is Dobereiner, Newland or Mendeleev, all the 3, the periodic table which they made, it is based on the atomic masses. And there he found that every 8th element had properties similar to those of the first. Then one example in support of it, you have the example in the same paragraph on page number 17. Sodium is the eighth element from lithium and both have similar properties. Also, magnesium shows similarity to beryllium and chlorine shows similarity with fluorine. I hope you have got the answer. Next, we move to the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table, a direct question. Give the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table. Here, depending upon the marks. If 2 marks, then 2 merits, then 3 marks, all the 3 merits which are given on page number 1919. Point number 1, atomic masses of sub-elements were revised so as to give them proper place in the periodic table in accordance with their properties. Here in the textbook you have the example for this point of beryllium, whose previously determined atomic mass 1409 was changed to the correct value 9.4. Second point, it is given in a very precise manner in the textbook. Do not write the entire point. In short, you can write that he had kept the vacant places. For the undiscovered element, 3 places were kept. What names were given prior, and after they were discovered, what names they were given, and then the properties, how they matched, and hence his periodic table was accepted immediately. And third point, no place reserved for noble gases in Mendeleev's original periodic table. However, when noble gases such as helium, neon and argon were discovered, Mendeleev created the zero group without disturbing the original periodic table, in which the noble gases were fitted very well. So all these 3 points. On the same page you can see one small table 2.4. So no need of learning something from that, just go through the table for the exam. Next additional question is about the demerits of Mendeleev's periodic table. Page number 20. You have 4 demerits. I have only written the points here. You have to widen the points and write it. Problem for cobalt and nickel. You know the whole number atomic mass of both these elements is the same, and hence there was an uncertainty regarding their sequence in Mendeleev's periodic table. Next point is about the isotopes. You all know that isotopes were discovered long time after Mendeleev put forth the periodic table, and as isotopes they have the same chemical properties but different atomic masses. And you know that how Mendeleev had arranged the elements in the increasing order of their atomic masses. So here also the challenge was posed ahead of Mendeleev in placing the isotopes in his periodic table. Third point is about the prediction of elements. Now when elements are arranged in an increasing order of atomic masses, the rise in atomic mass, it did not appear to be uniform, and hence it was not possible to predict how many elements could be discovered in between 2 heavy elements. And fourth was about the position of hydrogen, as hydrogen shows resemblance to the properties of both alkali metals, that is group 1, and halogens, that is group 17. There was a big problem ahead of Mendeleev so as to where to give position to this element hydrogen. Next additional question is state modern periodic law. Mendeleev's periodic law is already given as a textual question under question number 6, short notes. There I have changed the question. State modern periodic law is on page number 20. On page number 20, the last line of the page in bold black font. Properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic numbers. Next, last additional question is define atomic radius. It can be asked as true or false, or complete the statement. Page number 25, first paragraph, atomic size, last line. Atomic radius is the distance between the nucleus of the atom and its outermost shell. So here we complete with the discussion of additional questions for this chapter. Many additional questions are not there, but application based logic, where to apply the logic, such type of questions can be asked from this chapter. Now we move towards the discussion of activities for this chapter. Unless we get a full-fledged yes from the board regarding the reduction in syllabus, we have to prepare with the activities. If we get the reduction in syllabus, then all these activities will be deleted. But see, something if we study additional, that won't harm you. But if we skip off, just keeping in mind that yes, there is a reduction in syllabus, then it can harm you if it is asked in the exam. So we will be prepared later on. If we get some kind of idea, then we will skip off with that portion. Now all of you are requested to refer the page numbers. First, page number 16 for the activities. On page number 16, right on the top, you have one small activity that I have not discussed. Can you recall? Very simple questions are there that you don't write in the notebook. What are the types of matter? Solid, liquid, gases, elements, mixtures, compound. What are the types of elements? Metals, non-metals, metalloids. What are the smallest particles of matter called? Atoms and molecules. What is the difference between the molecules of elements and compounds? Molecules of elements, they are from the same atoms, and for the compounds, two different elements can combine. So this I have not discussed over here. In your own words you can write. The first activity, very important, is on page number 16 towards the end. Can you tell? Identify Dobereiner's triads from the following groups of elements having similar chemical properties. Now here, how you are going to identify the triad? By finding the mean of the atomic masses of the first and the third element, and you will find whether it approximately matches with the atomic mass of the middle element. So let us see the first one. Magnesium atomic mass 24.3, calcium 40.1, strontium 87.6. Now here you are going to add the values of A and C and divide by 2. So mean of A plus C upon 2 is equal to, add the atomic mass of magnesium and strontium 24.3 plus 87.6, you will get 111.9 upon 2, which you get as 55.95. Now if you see this atomic mass 55.95 does not approximately match with the atomic mass of calcium, that is 40.1, and hence we say that it does not form the Dobereiner's triads. 55, but your explanation is a must. It can be asked for 2 marks in the exam or 3 marks. 2 triads they will give you, and you have to identify which belongs or which follows the Dobereiner's law of triads. So very simple, add the atomic masses of the first and the third element, divide by 2 means get its mean. Check whether the mean matches with the atomic mass of the middle element. Approximately it should match. There should not be a vast difference. Now here you see it is given as 40.1, whereas the value which you are getting is 55.95. Very vast difference. So 55.95 is not approximately equal to the atomic mass of middle element calcium. Hence it does not form Dobereiner's triads. I hope you have understood. We move to the second one. S 32.1, Se 79, Te tellurium 127.6. Add the atomic mass of A and C and get its mean. A plus C upon 2, that is equal to 32.1 plus 127.6, 159.7 divided by 2, you get as 79.85. Now if you see 79.85 and 79, approximately it is same. So 79.85 is approximately equal to the atomic mass of the middle element selenium, and hence it forms Dobereiner's triads. Very simple. Third one, beryllium 9, magnesium 24.3, calcium 40.1. Again calculate the mean of atomic mass of the first and the third element, that is A plus C upon 2. So 9 plus 40.1 comes out to 49.10. Divide by 2, 24.55. So here 24.3 and 24.55, they match approximately, and hence you can say 24.55 is approximately equal to the atomic mass of the middle element magnesium, and hence it forms Dobereiner's triads. This is the first activity which we have completed, and you are supposed to write it in your notebook. Page number 17, you do not have any activity as such, that you have only do you know. So just go through it. No activities are there. Page number 18 of your textbook also, you do not have any activity. On that page you have only the Mendeleev's periodic law. Page number 19, you have think about it, that is not very important. So on page number 19 towards the bottom, you have use your brain power. That activity we are going to discuss here. Towards the end, yellow block, use your brain power. The question says chlorine has two isotopes which chlorine 35, chlorine 37. Their atomic masses are 35 and 37 respectively. Their chemical properties are same. Where should this be placed in Mendeleev's periodic table? That is in different places or in the same place. Now chlorine, they have shown us two isotopes 35 and 37, their atomic masses. Chemical properties, it will be the same because chlorine is the same non-metal. Where should this be placed in Mendeleev's periodic table? You know that Mendeleev's periodic table is based on atomic mass. So first statement, as the atomic masses of the isotopes of chlorine are 35 and 37, they should be kept in different places in Mendeleev's periodic table because atomic masses are different. So position should be different. Why? Because Mendeleev's periodic table is based on atomic mass. This is the explanation. He arranged the elements in increasing order of atomic mass. So I think we have given the answer. Where should this be placed in the Mendeleev's periodic table? In different places or in the same place. So they should be kept in different places, and also we have given a proper explanation to it that Mendeleev's periodic table is based on atomic mass and he arranged the elements in increasing order of atomic mass. So on page number 19 we have completed with the activities. Page number 20, 21 page number activities I will be taking next time. The activities are little bit lengthy, so won't get completed in today's session. So the easier ones I have taken up today, and the difficult activities I will be taking up on in the Saturday's session. So page number 21's activities we will keep aside. We move to page number 22. Simple activities. Page number 22. Page number 22. Can you tell? Go through the modern periodic table and write the names one below the other of the elements of group 1. Here such a type of question won't be asked. Write the names. They will provide you the names of the elements and you have to write the electronic configurations and then answer the different types of questions based on it. But as it is given, just we will write group 1. Group 1 means one below the other. If you refer the table on page number 23, the first element is hydrogen. So inside the bracket I have written the symbol. Second is lithium. Third is sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. So the elements of group 1 are hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Next question, write the electronic configuration of the first 4 elements in this group. That is hydrogen, lithium, sodium and potassium. So for writing the electronic configuration, you should be thorough with the atomic numbers. So at least I have told you up to number 20, calcium, you have to study it. So hydrogen, atomic number is 1. So electronic configuration is only 1 electron in the first shell. Lithium, atomic number 3. 2 electrons in the first shell, 1 in the second shell. Sodium 11, 2, 8, 1. Here a comma should be there. If a comma is not there, then you will be given a full 0. Potassium 19, 2, 8, 8, 1. Now here if you see, in the outermost shell, one valence electron is present in the outermost shell of all the elements. So let us see what is the third type of question asked. Which similarity do you find in their configuration? You will see that all these elements contain only one electron in their outermost shell. So this is the similarity which you find in their configuration. And the fourth one is, how many valence electrons are there in each of these elements? Only one valence electron is present in the outermost shell of these elements. That is why very simple activities I am completing today, and the difficult ones we will take up in the next session. I hope you have followed the activity on page number 22. On page number 22, you also have, do you know about uranium? You have to go through it for the board exam. Uranium has atomic number 92. All the elements beyond uranium with atomic numbers 93 to 118 are man-made. All these elements are radioactive, unstable, and have a very short life. Can be asked under MCQs. Okay, page number 23. Can you tell? Again, you have an activity on page number 23. The first question is, on going through the modern periodic table. See, on page number 23 of your textbook, you have the modern periodic table. It is seen that the elements lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon belong to period 2. Write down the electronic configuration of all of them. So you have to write the electronic configuration of all these elements which belong to the second period. So let us start writing. Lithium, and hence I have told you, you should be well known with the atomic numbers of these elements. Lithium 3, 2, 1, beryllium 4, 2, 2, boron 5, 2, 3, carbon 6, 2, 4, nitrogen 7, 2, 5, oxygen 8, 2, 6, fluorine 9, 2, 7, neon 10, 2, 8. Now after writing the electronic configuration of each of this element, what do you see? We see that each of these elements have two shells. All the elements, they have two shells, and you know that the shell number, it indicates the the number of shells, they indicate the period number. So 2 shells means which period? Second period. Now let us answer the questions based on this part. Is the number of valence electrons same for all these elements? If you see the number of valence electrons, they are not same. Here you have 1, here you have 2. So the answer is, the number of valence electrons is not the same for all these elements. Whereas in the previous activity which we have seen on page number 22, after writing the electronic configuration, each and every element had the same number of valence electrons. Third question, is the number of shells the same in this? Yes. Each one has 2 shells and hence they belong to the second period. I hope you have understood this activity. Very simple one. Turn your page and move to page number 24. Page number 24. Can you recall? You have in the center of the page. The first question is, what are the values of N for the shells K, L and M? You know the first 4 shells K, L, M and N. So you have to write the values of N. So your first shell is K shell. So N means the number of shell. So K is your first shell. So the value of N is 1. L is the second shell. So N is 2. And M is the third shell. So the value of N is 3. So immediately you have to write, for K shell value is 1. L shell value is 2 and for the M shell value is 3. What is small n? Small n means nothing but the shell number. Second question, what is the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in a shell, and write the formula. You know, the maximum capacity of any shell is determined by the formula 2n square, that is 2 multiplied by n, where n is the shell number. So for the first shell, that is the K shell, n is 1. So 2 multiplied by 1, so the capacity of the K shell is 2 electrons. For L shell, n is 2. So 2 multiplied by 2. So 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8. So L shell 8 electrons. M shell, n is 3. So 2 multiplied by 3, 3 to the 6 multiplied by 3, 6 3 is 18 electrons. And the N shell, n is 4. So 2 multiplied by 4, 4 to the 4 to the 8, and 8 4 is 32. So the maximum capacity of K shell is 2 electrons, L shell is 8 electrons, M shell is 18 electrons, and N is 32 electrons. So the same question is there as question number 3, which I have not solved here for you. Deduce the maximum electron capacity of the shells K, L and M. You know now how to deduce by putting the value of N. K shell it is 2, L shell is 8 and M is 18. Next activity towards the bottom of the page. Think about it. Page number 24. What is the relationship between the electronic configuration of an element and its valency? What is the relationship between the electronic configuration of an element and its valency? You know, by writing the electronic configuration of any element, you come to know about the number of valence electrons. If I write the electronic configuration of sodium 281, I come to know that there is one valence electron in its outermost orbit. So the first point, electronic configuration of an element helps us to determine the number of valence electrons in its outermost shell. Valency of an element is determined by the number of electrons present in the outermost shell. This determined word is very important. Many a time students make a mistake of writing valency of an element is the number of electrons present. Very wrong. Then in the case of oxygen, when it is 2 and 6, valency should be 6. Whereas valency is 2 because oxygen will take up 2 electrons. So valency of an element is determined. Determined word is very important, and this sentence you will get on page number 24. See this think about it activity is there. Write about it. You have a small topic valency. There the very first line you will get, valency of an element is determined by the number of electrons present in the outermost shell of its atoms, that is the valence electrons. It helps us to find out how many electrons it has to lose, gain or share to complete its outermost shell. So this is the relationship between the electronic configuration of an element and its valency. From the electronic configuration of any element, you come to know how many valence electrons are present, how many it has to lose, share or gain to attain stability. I hope you have followed the answer. Here you can write in your own words by using the concept, the logic from the chapter. The last activity for today is same page, think about it. The atomic number of beryllium is 4 while that of oxygen is 8. Write down the electronic configuration of the two and deduce their valency from the same. Atomic number beryllium 4, oxygen 8. So electronic configuration for beryllium is 2, 2, oxygen is 2, 6. Atomic numbers are provided to us. You first have to write the electronic configuration and deduce their valency, find out their valency. Now very simple, beryllium 2 electrons in the outermost shell. This 2 electrons, what beryllium will do? It will give away and it will become stable by 2 electrons in its first orbit. So valency for beryllium will be 2. What about oxygen? Just now I had spoken about it. 2, 6. What will oxygen do? Instead of donating 6 electrons, it will take up 2 electrons and form 8 electrons in the outermost shell and it will become stable. So it will take up the 2 electrons. And what is valency? Valency is the combining capacity, number of electrons which are donated, number of electrons which are accepted or shared. It is not the number of electrons in the outermost orbit. Remember always, valency is not the number of electrons in the outermost orbit. These electrons are known as the valence electrons. Why valence electrons? Because they determine the valency ahead. So here oxygen will take up 2 electrons and hence the valency of oxygen is 8 minus 6, that is 2. So we wind up our today's session with the completion of Think About It activity on page number 24. Remaining activities I will take up on Saturday, and then after that we will start up with a fresh chapter, that is chapter number 3. So before attending the next session, kindly go through the activities which are remaining and just read the introduction for chapter number 3. Before winding up the session, one more thing I would like to bring to your notice. On the group, the portion for the first online assessment is placed for you for all the subjects. Kindly go through it and prepare yourselves. We do not know, see what conditions are just prevailing around us. So next year also we will have our board exams. We will not have that, the situation is going to decide. And you know this year how the result was prepared. So each and every exam take as a challenge and a step towards your board exam. Do not take any of the assessments lightly, because we have to preserve the marks and we have to show it to the board if the board asks us. So we cannot make any manipulations with the marks over there. So each and every exam, if you study properly and take it in a very challengeful way, then no one can restrict you from getting maximum percentage, even if the board does not conduct the exams. Thank you, dear children. Stay at home, stay safe, and at the same time give justice to your studies. Thank you.